Recently, we reported that the totally innocuous 90s sitcom Friends was triggering numerous members of the millennial generation. They feel the show is inappropriate due to everything from fat shaming to transphobia. Well, guess what else triggers the millennials, folks? Would you believe touching raw meat? Oh, when will the wimpiness ever end? Apparently, millennials might like to eat a chicken dinner. As for cooking the bird, well, that's kind of yucky. You see, the millennials get the heebie-jeebies from touching raw, uncooked meat. I'm not kidding. Hey, back in the day, there was nothing wrong with touching a chicken. Now, choking one's chicken, that's a different story, but I digress. So it is that Sainsbury's grocery chain in the UK is coming to the rescue of millennials. On May 3rd, just in time for Star Wars Day, Sainsbury's will roll out their new touch-free chicken in a pouch. According to a Sunday Times report, the new little chicken packets were invented after the grocery store learned that 37% of young cooks preferred if they didn't have to handle raw meat. Isn't a cook that doesn't like to handle raw meat kind of like a scuba diver that doesn't like to get wet? But here's what Sainsbury's product development manager, Catherine Hull, had to say, quote, "Customers, particularly younger ones, are quite scared of touching raw meat. These bags allow people, especially those who are time poor, to just rip and tip the meat straight into the frying pan without touching it," end quote. The idea is predictably getting bashed on social media, presumably by those who aren't part of this generation, and talk about the law of unintended consequences. This method to placate millennials' food phobias is not all that good for the environment, given the amount of new plastic wrappers that are now going to be heading to the local landfill. But at least the hands of the millennials, well, they won't get finger-licking gross. You know, it's all part of a sad, sorry trend, folks, regarding those who were born between 1981 and 1996. Indeed, last year, Don Sweeney of the Sacramento Bee compiled a fascinating list of 27 things that trigger sensitive millennials. I can't itemize everything on the list here, but here are some of the highlights, or are they the lowlights? So why don't we start with something that is actually counterintuitive to the very survival of a species? Namely, the millennials aren't all that into sex. A 2016 New York Post article revealed millennials, compared to other generations, aren't forming long-term relationships or getting married or even having a lot of premarital sex. Gee, maybe this aversion to sex is connected to another thing millennials don't like, namely bars of soap. You see, 3 in 5 millennials are convinced that soap bars are covered in germs, according to a MarketWatch report in 2016. So it is, they prefer liquefied soap in a bottle. And this aversion to germs is likely why millennials don't like cloth napkins either. This is according to another 2016 survey by marketing intelligence agency Mintel, which noted that millennials favor disposable paper towels. Again, so much for being environmentally friendly. And the millennials don't really like to break a sweat either. They're not into golf, they're not into road cycling, and even uncorking wine bottles. No, really, all that fuss that's required in removing the cork from the bottle. Gee, you may as well ask a millennial to run a marathon. Suffice to say, while millennials drink nearly half of all wine in the US, they favor wine that comes in bottles with twist-off tops or, oh my God, tin cans? Now that's class. Oh, and speaking of class, that's another thing the millennials aren't into either. A 2014 story posted on unwritten.com says millennials are selfish and lack manners. Of course, the millennial generation ended with those being born as of 1997. So in a sense, folks, they don't make them like they used to. Thank God for that. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, the Rebel has a brand new app. Please download that app and take the Rebel with you wherever you go.